Sexton versus Bevan-Berry. After the December 2009 raid, OT5 Bevan-Berry did what no other Scientologist had yet dared to do. He approached and debated with Anonymous and Aaron Sexton. Aaron had much to say. $142 million plus given to the Superpower Scam. According to a report by Patty Pianetz on WWP, it's estimated that Scientologists have donated anywhere from $142 to $200 million for the Superpower project. Pooks tells that it's difficult to pinpoint the exact amount because of the way Scientology reports who donates what amount. People who double up on their donations are not reported. Neither is anyone who donates less than $35,000 or anyone who has left the cult and been declared a suppressive person. Meanwhile, in Clearwater, the only construction activity Anons have seen since they started working on the Superpower building again is a lot of outside dirt work with many pieces of equipment left unused. The only time there has been any movement is when there's a Scientology event across the street at the Fort Harrison Hotel. The Hollywood Megaraid is planned to be a full 3 days of pure interpolation. The Megaraid will begin with a brief panel discussion with several ex-York members who will be talking about what it was like for them to be trapped inside the cult and how difficult it was for them to escape. After that, a 2-hour road trip to Gold Base is planned. More highlights include the CCHR Psychiatry Industry of Death Museum, American Sand Org, and the LRH Live exhibit. A more detailed schedule can be found in the planning thread on WWP. Operation Underground Press, Napa College in California. A World Religious Forum was being hosted by one of the fraternities. There were representatives from 4 religions: Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, and Scientology. Anons had waited patiently for this moment, and the trap was set. To catch the speaker off guard, Anons first pretended to simply ask about space aliens and let the speaker think that she'd gotten off answering a question that she knew how to deny. Anons were to then set up another question and pass out forbidden tech to the unsuspecting audience and smear mud all over the face of the speaker. The speaker would obviously deny the existence of the materials before realizing that the Anons had planned for this. The Anons had made numerous copies of the materials and waited until the speaker denied that Scientology believed that the industry of death, aka psychiatry, was responsible for the Nazi Holocaust. And that was the signal to pass around the materials, because of course that's precisely what they believe. Once the audience had the moment to read over the booklet full of pictures and assumed historical references, for example how George Washington was killed by psychiatry, they look to the Scientology representative with rage and fury at the lies they are spreading. There's no place that Scientology can hide from the legions of Anonymous. Anonymous at press conference and press preview for new German Scientology drama. The new German TV movie, Until Nothing's Left, tells the story of a man who lost his wife and child after joining the Church of Scientology. The drama, which is based on a true story, was filmed in secret to prevent the organization from taking legal action against the project. Anonymous from Berlin and Hamburg were on site to welcome the well-known OSA agents and the spokesman of the Hamburg org, Frank Busch, who were not exactly pleased to see Anonymous. Delicate fact: the Meridian Hotel, where the new movie was presented, has been used by Scientology for the annual IRS convention, but they forgot to tell the management who they were. Hamburg Anonymous explained to hotel staff and management who they were dealing with during a flash raid on the event only a few months ago. Fun fact: Hamburg Anonymous raided the set for that movie, mistaking it for a new Dianetic Center in Hamburg. Quebec Ideal Org raid encountered David Miscavidge. Montreal and Quebec Anonymous united their forces again to troll deep the opening of Ideal Org. The Church of Scientology in Quebec City held the opening of their new Ideal Org on January 30th. The number of Scientologists present, 1,500, was exaggerated as usual. Local TV crews as well as newspapers reporters covered the event and protests. The opening coincided with the Quebec City Winter Carnival. David Miscavidge attended the opening, but curtain tech was used to block the view, as if that was needed. Nevertheless, it was made sure that he was greeted properly during his speech inauguration, using the famous Carnival de Quebec trumpet. Aggressive security guards as well as ball baiters were on the scene, but the Quebec City Police did a great job in keeping everybody safe. South Australia outlaws anonymous political speech. The South Australian government enacted a law this February making it illegal to post anonymously. This law was passed with support of both Labour and Liberal parties. The law was sponsored by Attorney General Michael Atkinson, who said, "There's no impinging on freedom of speech. People are free to say what they wish as themselves, not as somebody else." Protecting anonymous free speech is a critical element to democracy, something both parties here have clearly forgotten. But then, a short time later, Atkinson has made a humiliating backdown and announced that he will retrospectively repeal his law censoring internet comment on the state election. There was an up-and-coming generation of young people who had grown up with the right to say pretty much anything on blog sites without constraints, and that was a right they were going to cling to very fiercely. It would not be effective to continue to resist them, Mr. Atkinson said. Australian anonymous internet censorship protest. A huge protest against internet censorship in Australia is being organised in Sydney and trying to get others organised in Adelaide and Melbourne. The Sydney protest event will take place on Saturday, March 6th from 12 to 3 at the Sydney CBD. You can learn more about the incoming protests at blockthefilter.org or in the Freedom of Expression section on WWP. OpenNet releases the Internet Censorship Review for 2009. The report is released in a very user-friendly fashion, sorted by month. It contains all international events concerning Internet censorship by companies or governments. This is especially interesting for those anonymous who participated in the campaign to get information out of Iran or who fought against Internet censorship plans on the net and on the streets in Australia and Germany. AnonyNews is featured on Tom Newton's troll blog. The infamous cyber entertainer, suspected multi-user sock and troll blogger Tom Newton featured the last episode of AnonyNews in his new Cyber Haters blog. In his latest articles, Tom rants in his usual manner about Dr. Lily von Markap and her recent announcement to leave Chanology. Within one of these articles, he included the AnonyNews video talking about Dr. Lily. This gave the video a decent increase of viewers. We thank Tom Newton for showing us so much love and keeping up our image as almighty evil light hexer so we can spend our resources on important topics. Anonymous releases new customized browser version. The Firecaps Firefox customization has not been updated since version 2 of Firefox. FireLazorz is based on the latest Firefox version and is highly customized with useful plugins and add-ons and comes in anonymous custom design. The first version of FireLazorz was released on the Insurgents wiki already in December last year, but could only be downloaded for a short time before insurgent.info went down. The new version can now be downloaded through several file hosters. A download link can be found in the video description. New developments around 888. Last week we already reported about the read-only state of 888chan and the suspended insurgent.info. The administrator of both sites, R3X, has announced to work on a new project which he calls Vibeslash. This is basically a small community project for about 300 users that has a certain time to live before being renewed, thus addressing the DDoS problem by splitting huge user bases into small decentralized ones. First tech demos in his blog look very interesting and promising, but the concept is very controversial and is based on R3X's self-proclaimed Code of Trollshido, which has met a lot of disagreement in the anonymous community since it was published mid-2009. Did you know that 49 out of 50 of the staff members from the St Hill UK Centre that LRH personally ran have been declared suppressive by David Miscavidge? According to Hubbard's records, only 2.5% of the population are suppressive people, but according to David Miscavidge and Anonymous, 98% of Scientologists are. This remains the only thing to date that David Miscavidge and Anonymous have ever agreed on. Well, that and that Battlefield Earth was the absolute worst movie ever. Pro tip: wear comfortable shoes. Hurting feet are one of the biggest complaints of newfags. So, to avoid looking like the weakest link, make sure you're wearing comfortable footwear and raid straight through Cataday. And remember, no matter what the circumstances, never even consider high heels. The AnonyNews team. The news team is still looking for more shoot artists that know how to shoot web and help provide pictures for the news topics. And don't hesitate to send us an update on your local cell. You can also interview the public at your next Scientology protest. Send us the most wacky and or lulzy comments, responses, etc. for our Chanology birthday special.